You ever have one of those flights where, before the wheels even leave the tarmac, you know something wild's about to go down? Yeah, that's what happened to me and my daughter, Zuri, the day a billionaire in a tailored suit, Marcus Whittington, decided to make my business his business. There we are, first class, yeah, I know. Don't ask how a public school teacher and her sniffly 4-year-old ended up here. Long story when I catch him looking at me, his silver Rolex catching every bit of light like it's its own little sun. I'm struggling with our bags. Zuri's having a full-on meltdown, and he leans over, voice smooth as glass, and says, I couldn't help but notice you just spoke perfect Mandarin to your child, French to that passenger, and now Spanish to the attendant. Then, lower, almost suspicious, that's impossible. Who are you really? And in that instant, you know if everyone's tuned in, pretending not to stare, but they're all watching to see if I'm about to get put in my place. I tell him, polite but firm, Sir, I'd appreciate if you'd mind your business. My stomach's doing flips because, yeah, I speak 7, well, actually 8 languages, and I've spent my whole life trying to keep that fact from turning into a problem. The Geneva flight is already enough stress. Zuri's sick. I'm worried about what's waiting for us in Switzerland, and the last thing I need is some 1% playing detective. But Marcus isn't a retreating type. 7 languages, he says, ticking them off on his fingers: Mandarin, French, Spanish, Russian, English, Swahili, German. He pauses, tilting his head, voice dropping just for me. You're either the world's most overqualified flight attendant, or there's a story here I'm missing. There's a weird hush, passengers acting like they're deep in their books or podcasts, but you know they're listening. So I look him right in the eye and say, it's 8, actually. You missed Arabic. Spoke it with my mother earlier. That wipes the smirk right off his face. For a second, something flickers there, surprise, but also recognition, like maybe he knows more than he should. Then, almost accusing, he glances at my thrift store jacket, at my shoes, at Zuri, and mutters, 8 languages, yet you're struggling with basic airfare. I get that all the time, like the world can't compute a black woman, a mom, who isn't supposed to be extraordinary. You know what I mean? And right when I'm about to fire back, the whole plane shuttersaw pocket of turbulence drops us. Oxygen masks fall, people shriek, and suddenly the billionaire's not reaching for himself, but strapping a mask on my daughter first. I was an army medic before I was a billionaire, he says, calm as you like. For a split second, I see something real in his eyes. The plane levels out, people breathe again, and just like that, we're right back in a strange new world I landed in 30 years ago when I was just a kid on a porch in D.C., dreaming big dreams, not knowing how much they'd cost me. See, none of this started in first class. It started back in 1989, sticky summer in Washington, 17, knees pulled up, Arabic textbook open, listening to my grandma crack peas. She asked if I was planning on working for the CIA, all easy teasing, and I shrugged, thinking maybe I wanted to change the world, be a bridge between cultures, go places where girls like me weren't supposed to go. Hamilton Academy, that was my ticket when I got in. But there was this shadow, the Hamilton Initiative, a secret scholarship whispered about in the halls of underfunded schools. Nobody really believed it existed. Meanwhile, across town, 3 old money guys, Whittington Sr., Edward Pembroke, and Richard Chin, were sealing a deal to keep the initiative alive, doing penance for something none of us scholarship kids understood. Our children can never know what happened that summer, Whittington Sr. said, a line that wouldn't make sense to me for decades. When the acceptance letter arrived, no return address, instructions to keep the details secret, I remember overhearing some rich girl sneer, just another charity case. But by noon, I'd already shown up half the school in 3 languages, and by afternoon, got called in to see the headmaster. 4 languages at native proficiency? He asked, eyebrows raised. What does a postal worker's daughter do that? We moved a lot. I have a gift. But even then, I knew my talent made people uncomfortable, sometimes curious, sometimes threatened. Graduation came 8 languages fluent, 3 more passable. Friends? Not so much. Even other initiative kids kept their distance. I gave my valedictorian speech in 5 languages. In the audience, I caught those 3 men from the founding photo watching, pride, fear, something else in their eyes. Only Chun came up after, congratulated me, asked about college plans, hinted the initiative support went further than I thought. That was the first clue, but I brushed it off. I had bigger things to chase. Then life took off: Georgetown, UN work, field missions, a whirlwind romance with Kwa, the doctor who'd become my husband, and finally, our daughter. For a while, I believed it was all just hard work, good luck, maybe a little destiny. But one day, everything shifted. Chen reached out, frantic, old, and shaky. The initiative wasn't just scholarships, he whispered over espresso in a grimy NYC cafe. It was genetic research. He slid me a flash drive of me. Gift wasn't a gift, it was engineered. My parents weren't my parents, not entirely. They'd been selected. Your daughter's second generation. They're watching. I left that cafe with my world spinning. Days later, Chen died heart attack, officially. Unofficially, I knew better. Suddenly, Kwa got his dream job: Doctors Without Borders in Switzerland. The timing was perfect. Too perfect. I hid the flash drive, started glancing over my shoulder, packed our bags. And now, here we are, in first class, with a billionaire dissecting my life in front of strangers. When Marcus, after the turbulence, leans back in, voice low, "Who are you really?" I see the calculation behind his curiosity, the way he recognizes every tick, every anxious scan of the exits. I bluff. We're just relocating. Husband's work. But he sees through it. He's been in security all his life, can read people better than a polygraph. He presses his card into my palm, says, "If you ever want to talk about Chen's death, or why my father's name makes you flinch, or why your daughter's eyes have a genetic marker my father spent his career studying, call me." He touches the corner of his eye heterochromia. I have it too. So did Chen's son. So do all the Hamilton kids. The pieces are falling into place, but I'm not ready to trust anyone. We land in Geneva. Kwa meets us at arrivals, eyes bright, carrying Zuri like she's the crown jewels. We settle into a temporary apartment, cozy, safer, so it feels, until I finally open Chen's flash drive. Project Polyglot. The file says 30 years of records, research, photographs. It's all there. Genetic modification, neural pathways, enhanced linguistic capability. Not just meal of us. They called us assets, operatives, perfect spies. And they didn't stop with us. They wanted our kids. I barely sleep that night, running scenarios in my head, wondering if running is even possible. Next morning, a text, Cafe des Philosophes, 10 a.m. Come alone. MW. Marcus isn't waiting 3 days. Qua's out with Zuri. I go. Marcus is there, casual, rich casual. You read the drive? He asks. Not really a question. How much do you know? I test him enough. Turns out, he's been tracking the initiative, building a network, warning others. He says there's a splinter group, the Prometheus Consortium, still running the show. They want the second generation, our kids, for new programs. I don't want to believe him. I really don't. But then he plays me a recording. Chun's voice, Pembroke's, subject 127's offspring shows 300% increased linguistic integration. That's me, and that's Zuri. Marcus says we need to disappear. Has got a compound in the Alps, off-grid, safe. I tell him I have to talk to Kwa. He nods, no pressure, but I can feel the urgency. Back at the apartment, I tell Kwa everything me passed. Chen's warning, Marcus's offer. He listens, doctor serious, weighing risks, finally says, we need to go. Now. We pack fast. Only essentials: passports, clothes, Zuri's elephant. At noon, a black Audi pulls up, Gabriel driving. The trip into the mountains is a blur. Zuri's chattering about castles. Kwa squeezing my hand, Gabriel stone-faced. The compound isn't what I expected. It's beautiful wood, glass, gardens, lake. Marcus welcomes us, shows us to a suite, introduces the other families: Project Polyglot, Project Calculus, math prodigies, Project Atlas, athletes, Project Mnemosyne, memory. All enhanced, all hiding. Lunch is tense, stories traded in low voices. Marcus lays it out. The consortium is recruiting, forcibly if needed, using the law, tragedies, custody, whatever works. Some parents have disappeared. Some kids are gone. We barely have time to process before alarms blare security breach. Marcus hustles us into the bunker, lead-lined, secret exits. Monitors show black SUVs, men in tactical gear consortium. How do they find us? David, the math prodigy, asks. Marcus looks at us. Phones. He throws them into a box, but it's too late. The team's inside, moving straight for the bunker. Someone tipped them. In the chaos, Zuri clings to me, wide-eyed. Mom, the bad men are coming, the ones Daddy called. Silence. Everyone stares at Kwa. He doesn't deny Ithis' voice cold, like a stranger's. I've been working with the consortium since Zuri was born. They promised her the best. She's too important to hide. The betrayal guts Mimi partner. My safe place. Now the reason we're trapped. The door opens. Pembroke strides in, flanked by guards, smooth, chillingly polite. He tells me I have 24 hours to join them in Zurich. Your daughter is remarkable. She has a purpose. You all do. Fighting it is pointless. Marcus tries to position himself by a wall panel. Arguments fly ownership, autonomy, potential. Kwa, suddenly wavering, says, I won't let you separate us. Pembroke doesn't care. The tension snaps. Marcus hits the panel. Alarms blare, gas releases. In the confusion, a gun goes off. Kwa's hit, blood blooming across his chest. I drop to my knees, holding him. He gasps, Take Zuri, get out, keep her safe. I promise. Then Marcus yanks me up, helps me grab Zuri somehow. We fight our way to a tunnel, emerge to sunlight, a helicopter waiting, engine spinning. We board, lift off, the compound below burning, tactical team scattering, no sign of Kwa. Zuri sobs in my arms. Marcus silent beside me, guilt etched deep. We fly to Italy, Lake Como new safe house. I demand answers. Marcus confesses he suspected Kwa, but used us to confirm it, to draw the consortium out. I rage, blame him, but deep down, I know this war was coming for us either way. He tells me about Project Terminus's own enhancement, predictive intuition, seeing possibilities, preparing escape routes. Why didn't you save Kwa? Iakuze. Some patterns are too deeply embedded to change, he says, haunted. For weeks, we hide. Marcus rallies survivors, uploads evidence footage, files, Pembroke's threats to secure servers. He wants me to help use my language, my story, to expose everything. At first, I refuse, too broken, but when I watch Zuri sleeping, peaceful despite all she's lost, I realize the fight is for her future, not mine. 3 months later, I stand before the UN, speaking every language I know, presenting proof. We were created, I tell the world, but we are not owned. Our children are not assets. The world listens, governments scramble, Pembroke and his allies fall. Marcus, Alina, David, all of us step out of the shadows. The Johnson Foundation is born. Zuri grows free, her gift nurtured but never forced. 5 years pass. On another flight to Geneva, Zuri, now 9, reads Icelandic. A stranger asks about her languages. For a second, I tense. Then I smile. She comes by it naturally. That's the world I want for her, a world where being extraordinary is just being human. So, here's my question for you. Who gets to decide the purpose of a life? The scientists who made us, the governments who want to own us, or the people we become despite all that? Where do you stand in the side of control, or of freedom, of exploitation, or self-determination? I know my answer, but I want to hear yours. Drop a comment. Tell me what you'd do if everything you were proud of turned out to be someone else's design. Because stories like Minithiri not as rare as you think. And the fight for your own purpose? That's a fight worth having every single day.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội.
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
after the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're-
Use the fence.